you were copied on an email regarding leg 1 of Project Diversion, which was the Lushaba matter. And this email was on 16 October 2025 at 4:16. There was a meeting request for further particulars in one of the cases. And again, here I'm not sure if you were copied or if it was sent to you, but you were part of that email chain. And that was on 22 October 2025 at page 417. You'll see that was an email with the subject line diversion case 1 and 2. This would have been Lushaba and the Khumalo matters. And there you were copied on an email dated January 27, 2026. And then on page 418, this is a 28 affidavit. This is division leg 1, diversion leg 1. And this was related to the Lushaba matter, and this email was on the 28th of January 2026. This is not the sum total. I had just requested Advocate Ramsamy to provide me the correspondence that was shared amongst the team, including yourself, on these matters since the meeting of the 22nd of January.
From all this, it appears that you were involved throughout.
That is correct, Chair.
Some emails were sent to you directly. On others, you were copied. And besides just emails being sent to you, some of these say there were requests for meetings. You yourself have said that you did attend meetings.
That is correct.
And then also and crucially, you have also accepted that you would attend to what I may loosely call logistical matters. You would personally pursue those, make requests to, let me say, people outside of IDEC, make requests, get information that was required for purposes of these investigations. So all of that paints a picture of you being fully involved. Do you accept that?
I accept it.
Yeah. Yes, yes, Ms. Powe.
And then one other thing I want to quickly touch on is if we go to file 11, I know you don't have it, so I'm going to ask you to look at your screens. And you will recall that these are notes from Ms. Ramsamy where she was telling us about one of the contents of a meeting, which happened on the same meeting on the 22nd of January. And in that meeting, one of the things that was discussed was essentially a plan to and this was something that Advocate Johnson said, a plan to catch out the National Commissioner. And the idea was that they wouldn't tell the National Commissioner about investigation. He would then be summoned to Parliament to account, and then he would lie, and then he would be caught out. And this plan was discussed at this very meeting where you attended. I don't know if you recall that plan.
I don't recall any discussion about such a plan.
Right.
You were in the meeting.
I'm not sure on which
What is
date.
the
22 January.
It's the meeting of the 22 January, yes, where the presentation was made.
I honestly don't recall that discussion about the setting up of the NASCOM.
And you'll see it happens just before there's a discussion about that IGI meeting that you were to facilitate.
I see that.
Mr. Soko, it is of sufficient gravity and importance that if you were at that meeting, I would expect you to remember. I don't think it's every day unless you are telling us that you sat in meetings where every day this topic about setting up the National Commissioner came up. Then I would understand, well, it's one of many meetings and we can pin you down to the 22nd of January. If it's a once-off discussion, it's of sufficient seriousness that I don't understand that you don't remember. If you were in that meeting and you've told us you participated in that meeting. You can comment if you want to.
Commissioners, I understand where the commissioner is coming from, but I honestly don't remember that conversation.
And if you read those blocks, you'll see that the IGI was to give an intelligence file Can you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah. But if you don't recall, I can't take it any further.
Perhaps more accurately, if you say you don't recall,
Yes, if you...
then there's
Yeah,
an important nuance there. Yes, Mrs.
No,
Soko.
I was talking about the NASCOM one. The IGI one, I did indicate that, yes, there was a request for me to arrange that meeting.
Yes, Ms. Powell.
The one last issue that I'll canvass with you, two last issues. My apologies. Two issues that I'll canvass with you, relatively short. Now, when you testified earlier, you told us that there were two experiences that have shaped how you've approached these matters, and you mentioned after your testimony at the Zondo Commission, and secondly the kidnapping. Now, the kidnapping happens after a lot of this has happened. So I'll focus on the victimization, right? That you want us to have regard to the victimization that happens at IPID, right? Now, was your view that if you were to say something about what was happening at IDAC, you would be victimized? And if the answer is yes, by who?
Commissioners, how I viewed this whole matter at the time was that based on my experience and what I went through, sometimes standing up to things that are wrong, you end up being a victim yourself. And I know that may not be satisfactory, but at that time, I took a view that when the ID takes a particular decision, I fall in with it. And that's what I did.
The problem with that is if you want to be a leader, which you are, you should not put up your hand to be appointed as a leader. If that's your attitude, you just should not put up your hand to be a leader. In fact, standing up to authority may even be expected of officials who are by far junior to you. So with you, it's worse.
And I accept that, Chair.
Yeah.
Chair, the last aspect that I wanted to canvass is in relation to an incident that happens around the 24th of July, 2024, 2026. I just want to preface and say the reason why I make mistakes with numbers is I have numeric dyslexia. So I see something, but I read something else. So this is 24 July 2026. And this was after a staff meeting. And Ms. Ramsamy wasn't there, and you then spoke to Ms. Ramsamy. Do you recall that? In particular, she was wondering what she had done. Do you recall that? In particular,
No.
she was asking you what she had done to Advocate Johnson
Okay.
and Investigator Paramore. Do you recall that incident?
I had a lot of conversation with Ms. Ramsamy. Maybe you can remind me.
Don't you want to be more direct?
I can be more direct.
Yes.
Yeah. Ms. Ramsamy, because she's not done with her testimony, I'll say she will testify that during that conversation, when she asked you what she had done to Advocate Johnson, your response was that her problem started when Ms. Ramsamy was disagreeing with Chief Paramore, and that Advocate Johnson listens to Chief Paramore. Is that the situation that
Yeah, I think I would
was
have
at the
said that.
office, and that you were?
Yes.
And that was the known situation at the office.
Yes.
Which means that Chief Paramore had an immense power, because in there you said to her that Advocate Johnson listens to Chief Paramore.
Yes, that's true.
Now, in that conversation, she will testify that you also told her that Chief Paramore approached you after a meeting and told you to speak to her, Advocate Ramsamy, and Mr. Rapesu, so that the situation can be fixed, because if it isn't fixed, they, being Mr. Paramore, would be arrested and charged. Do you recall that? Mr. Paramore would be charged. Do you recall that?
Yes, there was that conversation, and yes, Chief Perumal did approach me and to say I must talk to them, and that I don't think he would have set charge, but they would be in trouble. I think that's how I remember it.
And who were the they that would be charged? Was it Chief Paramore?
Yes,
Or
so
would be in trouble according to the...
Yes, he was referring to himself.
And do you know why they would have been in trouble?
Well, I think at the time it was clear that the issues of how they dealt with the matter would come up.
So
Because in that meeting, there was a file that Rapeso had, and then in that file, it would appear that they had inserted some information which was not part of the file. And Rapeso indicated in the meeting that those documents, which, if I recall, were related to the forklifts, were not part of that file, and they would have been inserted in that file. And fortunately, he had done a record of everything that is supposed to be in that file, and those documents were not part of that file.
And this would have also been after or in the midst of Advocate Johnson's evidence before this commission.
Yes.
And so Mr. Paramore had approached you so that you talk to those two, because they were the ones who knew about what they were doing.
Yes.
Thank you. Chair, I don't have any further questions for this witness.
Thank you, Ms. Bowie. No re-examination. Mr. Ramatsegisa?
None, Chair, and commissioners.
Thank you. Mr. Sisoko, after a long day, you are excused, but should issues arise that require